It's Oklahoma Archery. Everything archery based out of Oklahoma for Oklahomans. Let's get it started. Hello, everybody. I'm David Boskin. This is the Oklahoma Archery Podcast.
I'm Neil Cooley, and this week we got a very special guest. We've got Mr. Vaughn McClain in the house, coming from Wellston, America. We wanted to have Vaughn on because this weekend we kick off our 2026 Oklahoma ASA, and Vaughn used to be not just the state director here in Oklahoma, but he was actually your regional director not real long ago. So Vaughn, how are you doing, bud? Tell everybody about yourself.
Doing good. How are you guys?
We're surviving. There's enough coffee we can get there.
Get past the big winter storm, I guess.
Yeah. What kind of fizzled out on our end, but we probably got 6 or 8 inches. It wasn't record breaking like they were saying.
Right.
Doesn't mean I went outside and shot my bow very often, but yeah, I was gonna say it was another week of indoor, so Dave's loving it.
Yeah.
Except for that weekend wasn't the indoor where I wanted to be, but it'll be all right. I weenie down on Lancaster.
Yeah, there's no need to go driving or flying into a blizzard. If you're flying out of one, yeah, that might be better, but kind of take it as a safety first precaution.
Yeah. Well, before we get into that stuff you do out there in them woods, I don't know what that's called. 3D, that's what it is, 3D. I'd like to give a big shout out to an Oklahoman that did go to Lancaster. Tom Stevenson, our resident recurve Olympian pro, runs the Storm team up in Oklahoma City. He won Lancaster in his division, so congrats to him. I think that is a very, very good deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. See a little bit of that audio, but all right, back to 3D with Vaughn.
No, big shout out to Tom. You can look at his past episodes with us. He's the founder of Archery Path. His technologies put a program together to maximize your arrow efficiency based on spine, tip weight, overall weight. So Tom's doing all kinds of stuff in archery. He also organizes our weekly league at H&H. So if you've ever seen the crowd Tuesday, it's just about got to the point where it's filled up, and we've got 3 or 4 people shooting on the tech lane now. So we filled the building up. Shout out to Tom for everything he does around Oklahoma. Appreciate him a lot.
Well, before we get started too much, Vaughn, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Dave.
Tell everyone what you're shooting, what bow and stuff you got going right now.
Well, right now I'm still shooting the Traverse, the Mathews Traverse. Haven't upgraded that because I really like that bow. So pretty much everything on there, shrewds, accessories, rest, stabilizers, Victory 25s on it, true ball release, sweet spot. That's my go-to release. So haven't done a lot of shooting. I've had a few problems in the last few years, health-wise, with some eye issues and some legs stuff. So
you need both of those.
Yeah, pretty much need both of those to shoot a bow. So I'm getting better, and I'm hoping to get out on the ranges this year.
There you go. There's enough opportunities out there. Some crazy guy scheduled 2 a weekend from here till August, it seems like.
I've seen that. Yeah.
It's going to be good. Vaughn used to not only run the ASA, but he used to host a few of them out at a range in what was the name of that town?
Trident, Oklahoma. Deep Fork Archery was the name of the archery range, and we were out there for 23 years.
Yeah.
And we started out on my cousin's property over here by Warwick, by where Dave lives. And we were out there for 3 years before we moved up by Tryon and Agra area. But yeah, 25 to 26 years of running a range.
There you go. What was your favorite part of it?
Setting it up. I mean, don't get me wrong. I enjoyed the camaraderie of everybody coming and shooting and all that, and still do. But I like listen to everybody gripe. You know, my range was probably, it was never really long or tough. What I thought, okay, it was deceiving. People always talked about it being deceiving because back, then we didn't have a whole lot of known classes back in the day.
There was none.
There really wasn't any.
Yeah.
When I was setting mine up until later, but it was all unknown, and that's what I like to do. I like to deceive you and fool you with the layout of the land.
Yeah.
And I tried to set targets that would be in that spot in the wild. You know what I mean? So
speaking of that, I remember whenever the Reinhardts were big and famous, you had like a carp fish or something out in the middle of his pond.
Yeah. Had it on a little floaty deal.
Yeah.
And you pulled it back and forth with a cable. It was only about 24 to 25 yards, maybe.
Really? That's it? No.
Yeah. Everybody talked about it because they thought, well, that's a long way. Well, you don't judge water,
They've got that same setup. We shot it one year at Back 80 up in Cherokee. He's got that same carp, and you pull the rope to get your arrows, and then you zip it back the other way to get the target reset. He's got a big stake out there in the middle of a little creek, and I don't think he set it the last two qualifiers we'd had, but the first one out there, it was kind of fun for the kids. All enjoyed that.
Oh yeah.
People always ask me, because we got so many new ranges, they're like, is it in the trees? Is it in the open? How windy is it going to be? And it's always like, well, you got to have at least one target out in the open, because I've never seen an antelope in the timber in my life. So, about putting the targets where you would see them in a nature setting. Yeah.
Right. Or like your African animals,
Yeah.
Set them out into some tall grass where it looks like you're, in Africa, basically.
Pretty much.
So I had the luxury of being able to do that at either one of my ranges. Mm-hmm. I had places where I could do that. So
yeah.
I had different sections of different parts of woods. Like at the first place, we had
pine trees.
Yeah, we had hardwoods. We had a field of pine trees that a guy had planted out there, and they had gotten about 15 foot tall. And then you come down into this rocky area where it looks like mountain goat, mule deer type terrain and stuff like that. And then you're back down into a little bit of an opening and then into some hardwoods again. So it was a really good place to set up the very first range. But the second range was really good too, because I had 160 acres to play with, and I could go anywhere on that place. It was pretty neat.
Yeah, and it was really ahead of its time in a way, because you had one of the first covered check-ins, a turn-in area, and you always had food. Man, you had someone always cooking for him there. So when you come off the range, seemed like we could yell at the second to the last and say, get 3 burgers on or something, and then by the time we got there, they were ready. Yeah.
I think having food on hand is a pretty good motivator because the biggest thing is for 3D that I worry about is you turn your card in and you go. You turn your card, you shoot 20 targets, you throw the card at them, and you get in a truck and you leave. And everything we're trying to build up here in Oklahoma is, man, come stay and hang out. 20 targets is just we just do that to warm up. And then we got a burger guy. We got Heath Franz with Big Daddy's Burger Shack. He's not only cooking for us, but he's running the Genesis shoot this year. You get some raffle tickets for state. When Vaughn ran state, he'd go buy all kinds of, bows and prizes and stuff like that. Y'all if you're new to 3D in Oklahoma, like so many of you are, y'all missed a lot of good stuff back, 5-10 years ago, probably.
Yeah. About 8 years ago, 8-9 years ago, I've noticed it has changed,
Mm-hmm.
What's changed? What's changed most?
Yeah.
A lot of new people.
Okay.
A lot of the older people that are our age group, you're younger than me, but there's only a few that still shoot. And when I go to the shoots now, I see a lot of people that I've don't even recognize, and that's good. But as you own a range, pretty much everybody, and since I've been out of that for the last 5 or 6 years, I don't know anybody, so it makes it tougher when people come up to you that have heard about you or know about you, and they're talking to you, and I'm like, I don't know who this is.
Welcome to my life every morning. Neil, how you doing, man? Oh, good, buddy. Good to see you, boss. How are you, brother? And it's like if we could all just have shooter jerseys with our names on them, that's my favorite part of being in a crowd of 100 people. And it's like, man, I've probably met you 3 times, and it just takes me a minute to click, or I haven't had my coffee yet. So it's definitely
coming from a range ownership. You always having new people coming through, with it being a spouse or a cousin or something. And he, like Neil brought up, new people are coming into this. What would you tell someone to kind of get ready for? What can they expect when they get there? Well, I mean, just any little tricks and tips that they might be prepared for.
Well, are you talking about as at a qualifier type?
Yeah, okay. Like what's coming up for this weekend.
Yeah, like at a qualifier, you're going to be grouped. You're not going to get to shoot with your family most of the time. You're going to be peer grouped with people that are shooting in your same class or your same distance. So you're shooting from the same stake, and that might be a little bit different to some people when they first come to one. You got to get in your comfort zone to be able to do that. I know the first few ever I went to scared me to death, not shooting with my buddies, but you got to get over that hump and get used to that. But you're just going to shoot 20 targets in your basically your wheelhouse for your class. So you just got to take every shot, one shot at a time, and tell yourself, I'm practicing at home and make a good shot. And if you judge yardage, make a good judge and make a good confident shot. And most of the time it's going to work out for you. So
get a repetition of, I do remember when we'd go shoot, we shot a lot together. I mean, we traveled and did a lot of shooting, but I can also remember I had a routine, walking to the stake. I had a little foldable chair like everybody. My binos would either fit on my belt, or I'd drop them in my chair, but I was get to the stake, we'd judge, I'd glass it, find the spot that I want, and then we'd shoot. But you got to get into a routine, and you got to do it quick.
Right. You got to have your own little routine. I mean, like me, what I always done was we walk up to the next stake. I walk up there to the stake. Of course, I've judged all my life. I look at the target. I'm a sight judger. So I look at the target to the size of it, what it looks like, and I get yardage in my head. I go put it on my sight. Okay. And then whoever's first or whatever, you wait on them to shoot. But, I might fine adjust it once I get up there. But I don't like anything on my body myself. I don't like binos. I don't like a quiver. I don't like everything is in my chair. I take my chair to the stake, set it down. My binos are on top of my chair. When I look, I grab them, I set them back down, then I make my shot. But you have to get your own little routine that makes you comfortable, makes you feel good to make a good, confident shot, and you can misjudge if you're a judger. You can misjudge sometimes 2 yards, 3 yards, and still hit a 12. I mean, it doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen because you go, okay, I misjudged that one, but I don't know how I got where I was at, but okay. But it does if you make a good shot,
And, we was talking about how the families might not get to shoot together. There's going to be some kids that might enjoy not shooting with dad.
Well, that's true.
And we don't mind pairing you with, if you don't mind going with a group of kids, if it's the Junior Eagles, we like to send one adult with them, God bless them, whoever that unlucky soul is. We've got a good group of parents that'll jump on that grenade for the rest of us. So we like to have some adult supervision, and then we do encourage spectators are allowed. You just can't go down the lane to the stake. So you can, have a little caravan there. You'll see 3 or 4 kids and 3 or 4 adults going with them, and they go just about as fast as everybody else. So, spectators are allowed.
With the little ones, you got to have that.
Yeah.
They need help with scoring.
Yeah.
They need help with pulling their arrows sometimes, finding their arrows sometimes. They need help with all of that. So you need to have a few adults there on hand to do that, So
that's we like to point out, if you're in a known class, it is kind of a procedural thing. You let everybody range it from the stake and then hop off and then shoot one at a time. So give everybody a chance to range it, set their sights while everyone else is shooting. And that typically speeds the process up just a little bit. But
and the other thing is, for new people that's never done one before, it's a shot rotation deal too. Like if Neil and I and David were shooting in a group, say Neil's up first on the very first target that we shoot, and David's second and I'm third. When we go to the next target, David's first, I'm second, and Neil's third. And then the next target,
it rotates.
You rotate shooting first. That way, the same guy's not shooting at a blank target all the time.
There you go. That's why it's important.
So,
that's right. Yeah.
That's why it's important to do that. But
leading off on that black target underneath the tree is pretty tricky. So
that's me. I'll do that every time.
I tell ranges
a dark target. I'd just soon not have an arrow in there anywhere.
Yep. That's me, the range is to set 4 of them in a row so everybody gets first on one, and not if you do every 4th target, one guy who's shooting in that rotation every 4 times is going to get just an unlucky draw and have to lead off on every dark target without any reference on it. I like having a couple arrows down there to kind of have a point of reference on, but this is the kind of stuff that really I think is great for new to 3D people, because I've got so many questions. I was talking to Aiden's dad, David, the other day at H&H, and he's like, "We've never done 3D. Tell us everything you can." I'm like, well, I kind of tend to preach the course management. If it's max distance, you're going to have 2 or 3 that are close to max. Shoot a safe center 10 on those. You don't have to aim right at the 12 on the long ones. Just lay up a good safe arrow. And then the ones that are close, aim right at it, try to get you some 12 rings. And the medium distance ones, it's like, if you think you got a good point of reference, or because kids, they can see. Once you get 40, 50, 60 years old, your eyes start to kind of go. And you talk to Rick Gilly, he's never been able to see a 12 ring, and he's aiming based on where in the 10 ring that 12 ring is going to lay. So it's all about what you can see and what you have to aim off of down there.
Yeah. Well, let's take a half a step back for these first-time comers. When they drive up, I mean, let's be real. You're going to put your equipment together. You're going to walk up. Do they sign in first? And there will be practice bags for them to go warm up on. Then how far do they need to get there early enough to do a little bit of this before they gather the crowds to assign to targets? How much time do they got?
Well, I'd like them there an hour early. If we start at 10, you need to be there at 9. And for convenience sake, this year on our Facebook page and asaoklahoma.com, you can go at home, print your sign-up sheet off at home, fill it out ahead of time. And Doug and Cindy Miner are the best at this. They do the same thing every year. They've got it pre-filled out. They just make copies of it, and they just walk up and hand the form and the money. If not, the forms are there. So, go get you a pen and a clipboard. But you can do that early. Print one out, fill it out, and make about 25, 30 photocopies of it, and you'll just throw them in your bow case, and that'll save you 10, 15 minutes at the registration table every single weekend.
Good information.
Highly encourage that. Get your bow together, go sign up. Practice bags will be at every range. And then this year, if you sign up for the team shoot, we're also going to have 5 3D targets that you can warm up on. If you sign up for $15 for the team shoot, you can warm up before your qualifier on foam instead of the bags.
See, at my range, I used to I'd set my 20, 30, 40, and 50. And then in between there at 25, 35, and 45, I'd always have a 3D target on my practice range for people. Just to be nice,
Yeah.
And back to the sign-in deal. We like for you to sign up first, because we need to get the cards and start peer grouping the people.
Yeah, while they're warming up.
Great
info.
Yeah. Yeah. We'd like for you to come and sign up first. Get your bow out of your vehicle and come sign up first, and then go to the practice range.
And also, you're signing a waiver for if you trip in a hole or poke yourself pulling an arrow. We'd like to have that liability waiver done before you're starting to fire arrows off into the woods. So, for the lawyers out there, do us a favor.
Yeah.
And they don't allow whiskey on the range.
No, leave your whiskey and your all your other mind altering substances.
That's for afterwards when you're drowning in your sorrows.
And what can they expect once they get to the range? Hey, they walk up. They're going to be assigned a target when they hand their cards to them, right?
Yes.
Okay.
No. Well,
No.
Okay.
Okay. At the state championship, that's the way I ran it. When I did it, I had a calendar with the targets on there, and I blocked them off in blocks for how I want the range to run. And I'd take their name, and then I'd go ahead and tell them, well, when you get done with that, if you have to make a couple of minor adjustments, you just tell, let's just say Cindy Miner, instead of target 1, you need to be on target 4 now to make this thing work right. And it's only been, every time I did it, it was only 1 or 2 people. But at a qualifier, we get all the cards, we peer group all the people, and then right before we get them over there, 15 minutes before we start, do the rules and regulations, and the range people tell them what's going on with the range, and then Neil or the person running the range will start announcing the names and send them to their targets.
Yep.
Okay. And I'm playing devil's advocate all the way through as I'm a newer. They go walking down the range. They introducing themselves to the rest of their group and everything. They walk up, and there's a whole big line of stakes in the ground. What do they know what to do?
Most of the time, their card is color-coded with their stake color.
Okay.
And then they should be told at the sign-in desk what stake they will be shooting from. And most of the time, the whole group's going to be shooting from that same color, if it's possible. So sometimes you might have a group shooting from the stake right in front, or whatever. But most of the time, you try to group them where they're all, they might not shoot the same class, but they shoot the same yardage. So they're both like red card or white card or whatever,
Okay. The reason that we put those together is so we can keep it as safe as possible, because you want to have all your close stakes on neighboring stakes. So you don't have a yellow or a green stake, and one lane over there, you've got somebody from the white or the black stake, because it slows it down, because you don't want to be having 25 yards behind the junior eagles as the guys on the black stake shooting the 50-yard stake, and they're shooting directly at the back of those kids. So you want to have, if you've got a group of orange and green and yellows next to them, you ought to have at the very least either an open stake or a blue and red, so they're not quite so far in front.
Right.
We like to keep all the white and black stakes on one end and all the short stakes on the other end, just so nobody's having to wait on your neighbor to shoot up close and go pull and get out of the way and then shoot, because that causes a backup.
But it causes it to back up on every shot. Yeah, because
exactly.
You got to wait. You got the 50-yard people got to wait on the 20-yard people to walk up there and shoot. Yeah, and then they walk up and stand and wait to score till those guys shoot. You want to keep it running, like he said, the longest ones to the shortest ones, really.
And as you're out there on the range, you're walking through, let's be real. Kids are kids, adults are adults. And right now you shouldn't have to worry about it, but come the sun, the heat, they don't need to carry 2 liters or a gallon of iced tea with them. I mean, what can they expect when they come through? Let's say someone's listening to this podcast in 3 months when it is warming up. Will most ranges go through and sell bottles of water and Coke, or will they have ice jugs like they used to have years ago? What can the families expect to help keep nutrition going in them?
You want to have some snacks. You don't want your sugar to get low, but there will be ice chests of water every 5 or 6 targets. There'll be at least 2 water coolers, maybe 3 or 4 on every 20 target range. At state, we try to have them every 5 or 6 targets at least, just because it's July and 100 and something degrees. So the ranges usually do provide water, most of the time free of cost. Sometimes they'll put a donation jug out there, and Pawnee was real good last year about putting out all kind of electrolytes and stuff like that, just to keep you going. But in your quiver or in your stool, take you some beef jerky, take you some protein of some kind, just because it's going to be 4 hours of back and forth and mentally and physically kind of tough terrain. So, keep you a protein bar. Granola is always good. Anything that doesn't go bad in your quiver is kind of good. And then we've got Heath here as soon as you get off the range to feed you before you get on the way home. So that'll be good on keeping people fueled. But yeah, when your sugar goes and your hydration goes, the first thing that suffers is your eyes. So your vision goes first. So anytime staying hydrated, keep you some liquid IV or so whatever brand you like, Gatorade, Propel, little packets in there. Just dump you one in every other bottle of water, and usually it'd be pretty good to go.
What I used to do, I don't know if people still do it, but at your motel or whatever, if you're at a pro-am or even at home, I would freeze a bottle of water, just a little bottle, put it in my pack, and it stays good and cold through the whole range. And then, of course, you always got to have your snacks,
Yeah.
Your granola bars and your beef sticks and stuff like that.
Yeah, when I did them, I remember I'd always take a half a bottle of water and would freeze it. And I'd fill the rest with water, and then it would keep it cold because I knew there would be water jugs out there, so I would have cold water throughout because of that.
What really works well in the summertime when it gets really hot is your favorite drink, and half, because a lot of times if you drink a lot of Gatorade at once, you gulp it down, it's going to upset your stomach. I don't care who you are, it just does.
Yeah.
If you mix it half and half and you're really thirsty and you gulp all that down, you're not going to feel bad when you get done. Okay.
All right.
But that's just a tip I learned along the way is go half and half when you're stuffed, and it doesn't make you feel bad after you drink it. Because if you drink a whole bottle of Gatorade all at once, it'll make you feel bad.
We're talking about drinking hydration stuff, and let's be real, old bladders and women are out there. Can they expect any kind of restroom facilities on some ranges?
Yes, most ranges will have either a facility or a rented a porta potty. Tell people that's the 3 P's of hosting a qualifier. You need parking, you need practice bags, and you need a porta john. So yeah, we should every single one of them. Most of them will be back at the registration table, that kind of thing. So, but it's not a huge trek. Like, you're not hiking miles and miles in the woods. It might be a mile at the most. But you can get back pretty quick. And if you go, wherever between target 1 and 20 is like, well, if anybody needs a bathroom, now's the time to go. So try to keep that, don't pass one if you think you might need one.
If everyone's setting their ranges up like an ASA Pro-Am type range, where you got 10 on one side and 10 on the other side, you don't go real far, 500 yards maybe, and then back.
Yeah.
But we always tried to set one, in the middle at target 5 and 15 or whatever, when you're coming back, where you got a spot in the middle to go to the restroom. But always have them at your sign-in area, though.
Yeah. There will be somewhere to go to the bathroom, and a lot of the good old country boys will find a good looking tree, and that's all you need. But
there's some good old country girls that used to do that too with an umbrella. So.
I know what you mean. That's my biggest fear. Yeah.
Don't see it much anymore, but back in the day, you'd see it.
I don't want to get caught squatting behind a tree by a group of parents in your eagles. That's the state director over there getting rid of breakfast. No, that's my biggest fear.
And here comes your official camera guy. Click, gotcha.
Yep. We're gonna have camera guys on the range this year. Sly Cooper's going to come take, I think he's going to do video on Saturday and still photos on Sunday, and those will go right on the website under the media tab. So you'll be able to see photos and videos from all the events that he's at. You just go in there and click on them and have some good looking photos. So it's gonna be a good year. I got a lot of new stuff going on this year.
Okay, these new families have shown up. We've walked them through the ranges. They've shot. What do they do when they're done?
Make sure every box on your scorecard is filled out. You got to do the running total. And I've told them this once. I try to cover it during announcements. Once you sign that scorecard, the official version, because you don't keep your official score. Dave will keep mine. I'll keep Dave's. We check the math on them and make sure both sets.
I get to keep my own.
Yeah. You keep we filled them out. But once you switch cards at the end and you sign off and they sign, the scorekeeper signs off and the shooter signs off. If you're 2 points shy of what your total was and you sign it and turn it in, that is your score, period. There is no changing it. You signed it. That means you checked the math that somebody else did. And once you hand it in, that becomes your score, whether it's right or wrong. So double check. If the math isn't right on it, take the time, pull out your cell phone, calculator, count on your fingers and toes, whatever you need to do, because you'll turn, usually in the group, the high score turns them in. Since we give everybody a raffle ticket for our state prize drawing at turn-in, sometimes they like to turn their card in on their own. But usually the high score in the group will go turn them in. And I just tell, here's 4 raffle tickets, go find the other 3 guys in your group. But yeah, everybody that turns a card in gets a raffle ticket and save both halves of it for state. You don't have to be present to win at state, but you do have to be present to enter. So we're not putting the raffle tickets in the bucket for you. You got to come to the state championship in July and put them in the bucket for bow giveaways, arrows, custom jerseys, all kinds of prizes and stuff that you're going to want a chance to get in on. And then we combine those for the bow giveaways at the end. So, we might give away targets or whatever else this year.
Back in the old days, I hosted the state 3 times at my range in the time we were there. And every time it was kind of on me to go and get prizes. And I would just go and hit doors, and say, hey, I'm having this tournament out here. I'd go to Stillwater, Perkins, Chandler, all the little surrounding towns, and just hit up businesses for actually money. And then I would take that money, a donation, I would take that, and I put a big sponsor sign up showing all the people that sponsored. And then I'd had sponsored targets on every one of them. And then I would go and buy or whatever and talk to the people at the shops or the stores or whatever, wherever you bought your product at, and say, hey, I got $2,000. What can you help me out with on this now? Like if you go to an H&H or a, Choctaw or any of those type guys, or even Bass Pro, Cabela's, Academy, any of those places, and say, hey, I'm going to spend this much money in here. Can you help me too? And most of them would give me the same amount that I'm spending. So there was times that I had like $20,000 worth of stuff to give away. And the way we just did it, you guys do the raffles and the drawings now, but the way we did it back in the day, I just take your scorecard, you turn your unofficial scorecard into a bucket, and then we just started drawing names out of that bucket, and almost every person in the crowd would get a prize, and sometimes would get 2. Yeah. I just like doing that. I just think that was nice to do because they've drove all over the world, pretty much of Oklahoma during the year, and now they're getting something for their travels.
I think all that's great, and I hate to keep harping, but I'm going to ask. I'm playing dumbass here. The family shows up. We're finished shooting. They turn their scorecards in. How do they know how they placed? What do they announce the awards on location? They're going to go do your shoots there. We're going to eat a burger and everything at Big Daddy's. But let's say they've got to get on the road. They got a 2-hour drive. Where can they go and find results? And how quick are you trying to get results up?
Scores have been, we only post scores on asaoklahoma.com. Most of the ranges are pretty good about putting the scores in the spreadsheet, and they're usually up by Sunday night or Monday. It's usually a 1-day turnaround, depending on how cooperative the host range is. Sometimes if I've got a little bit of time, I'll do it for them, depending on if they're comfortable with the spreadsheet. But they just text me, and I text the website guy, a fella named Chris Love, and we put them all up. They're nice and clean looking. They're uniform, and I'll share that to the Facebook group. But you can find all of the past qualifier scores and the current running for Shooter of the Year on asaoklahoma.com under the 2026 tab. And it'll still have last year's scores up there under 2025 and that kind of thing. So it's been a really easy way to do it. And we've got some of our sponsors customers up there that cycle through on the scores, some people that have supported us. So gives us a chance to showcase them a little bit better. And it's worked out really good because it looks clean. I don't like it when it looks like you go on the Facebook page and it's a bunch of pictures of handwritten scorecard or score sheets on there. It just handwriting's not good. I like it to look kind of crisp and clean. And Chris Love's been real good about helping us keep it all on the website. And it doesn't take him 10 minutes from the time I text him, all the scores are in, and then boom, there they go up. And, you know, God bless him. There's always somebody that I might have put in the wrong class or spelled their name wrong, and they'll text me. And it gets changed, updated real quick. I know in the past, some people,
that happens all the time.
yeah, some ranges it takes a week and a half to get scorecards posted. And that just, if they drive and they hand you the money and they spend 4 or 5 hours with you, you're not done with the qualifier until the scores are up. So we like to get those quicker. You know, there's always a few ranges that'll be on the slow side. You know, it is what it is. It takes a lot of work, and we appreciate them hosting, but I like a quick turnaround on scores being posted. And then this year on our sign up sheets that we've changed, it has how you want to be paid out. You can leave them a Cash App or a PayPal if you want to receive your money on that. You can pick it up at the next qualifier. You can donate it to the range. You can pay to have it mailed to you. That's another thing on our score sheets is you can indicate how, if you're in a payout class, so anybody above young adults and above are in payout classes. Youth and below shoot for $15. Young adults and above shoot for $30. And if it's a $30 entry, you are in a payout class, for everybody that's unfamiliar. So you can designate on your sign up sheet how to get your money to you. Address, PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, you name whatever it is. And we'll have that. It's that range's responsibility to get that out to you. But so basically, you're waiting on scores, waiting on getting paid, and on to the next one.
One last question I can think of. Let's say that a young couple or small family, whatever, husband, wife, it doesn't matter. They come, let's say one's not great at shooting and one is. At these qualifiers, do you allow someone to shoot a fun round, or is this just for qualifiers? Because that's going to get asked.
Fun rounds are always allowed. I wouldn't encourage many fun rounds just because I think that to get the whole experience, you need to shoot for score. You need to be, because we're getting big to a point that, say we have 120. We have 20 targets and it's a max of 6 per stake. We're not ever going to have 120 right now at a single day, but if it keeps growing at this rate, fun rounds are if space allows. And the only place that comes into play is at the state championship, where we have, you know, but thankfully the Oklahoma City Gun Club sets 2 30 target ranges. So we've got plenty of space at the state championship. But I do tell people, if you are a fun round and you're number 121, we might not have space for you. I don't think the qualifier turnout's going to get that big for a couple of years now. And by then we could go to a 25 target range just to free up another, 30 spots, because in the rules, it is a max of 6 per group. And we haven't had to do that anywhere in the past couple of years. But if it keeps growing at that point, fun rounds are allowed. Most ranges, I think $20 is what they cost. You're not going to shoot with a peer group. You're not going to get to shoot with who you want. All the fun rounds are going to be grouped together, just because it's a peer grouping thing. That's a competitive thing. That's a fairness thing. So
if your buddy's going to shoot the tournament, the qualifier, and you're wanting to shoot a fun round, you're not going to get to shoot with him.
Yeah.
And we don't say that to be rude. We just, if you're competing for money, you need to be competing with people in that group. So everybody's scoring the arrows the same. The group sees what arrows are in, what arrows are out. And I don't want to have anybody question the integrity of a score because they shot with their buddy, 2 fun round guys, and their parent, and they put up a monster score. It's going to be in front of your group. You're going to compete with the people that are, you're in direct competition with. And that's just the most fair and open and honest way to do it. So, and if it's your first time and you need to go with somebody because you only brought one rangefinder or something like that, that's fine. It happens, and we don't want to turn anybody away, but beware. It's kind of, if it's 6 or 7 weeks in a row, we're not going to let you just shoot with whoever you want. You're gonna make some new friends. You're gonna meet some new people that shoot archery, and they're gonna be your friends by the end of the day, or unless you get stuck with me, and you're probably gonna go back to crappie fishing.
Fair enough. That's all the questions I got on a newbie coming to shoot.
Just want to clarify something at first. I never was the state director. I was the area rep in Oklahoma, Neil. But
There you
go. For 3 years. But then I was promoted, I guess, I don't know, to regional director, and I was in that post for 13 years. So
there you go. It's good to have. Vaughn's showed up a couple of times and bailed me out, not only at our indoor events and stuff like that. If any of you've gotten at state, we give the big Happy Gilmore checks out. Vaughn's behind those. I've got more compliments and thank yous on the giant checks than the buckles and the plaques put together. So I
tried that 1 year, and everybody liked that, and I'm like, shoot, we'll keep on doing it.
Yeah. Can we count on getting those again this year?
Oh yeah, you're going to get them again this year.
Those are fun.
With the new logo on them too.
Yeah, the ASA Oklahoma logo. Yeah. Big shout out to Craig Griffith, helped us design that. The guy that does the Oklahoma Bow Hunter. He's like, man, you need a logo, dude. You need some kind. I don't know if you can see it on my hat there. It's got the upper and lower 12s and the state shape there. But big shout out to Craig and everybody that's kind of chipped into.
Yeah, and back in the day, I had a friend of mine that came to shoot. We shot all over Texas because he was from Texas, Burt Burnett, which is down by Wichita Falls. And he's a biker dude now, but back when we shot, we went everywhere, all over to all the Texas qualifiers, which I was the director. I was trying to make places in Arkansas, Kansas, Missouri. Every weekend I'd go to maybe one shoot somewhere else, New Mexico, close around states, just to show them around, But we shot all the time, and he gave me a nickname of Bowcat. He always told me Bowcat.
That's where that came from?
Yeah, from Jack Johnson. So shout out to old Jack. Oh, I called him Lone Star, but he called my burgers Bowcat burgers. So everybody would stay for the Bowcat burgers. Well, now we're going to have to stay for Heath's. What is it? His onion burgers.
Yeah,
Big Daddy onion burgers. Yeah.
Yeah. Those are going to be fantastic.
Those are really good too.
Yeah, I was gonna say you better come hungry because it's you get you a double with cheese on there and you're gonna be riding home just almost uncomfortable because it's all you want and then some. He's not, and we've got it set up to where he doesn't have to bring his whole trailer down. I think he's got a big griddle and probably like a 10x10 tent, so it's kind of his skeleton thing.
Well, that's the way we used to do it. That would be fun. I mean, I think that's the way it ought to be done.
Yeah.
Really,
I think he's got chip and a drink and a burger for a $10 plate. And he's doing a couple of raffles himself for some merchandise. And he's been making bowstrings the past year or so.
He made some t-shirts with the logo on there too. So
yeah. I saw
those look pretty cool.
Yeah. Those were pretty slick. So he's going to be doing some giveaways, and then he's got you a voucher for either a free shot at the Genesis Challenge, which was 3 arrows at 10 yards with a Genesis bow. You shoot a yellow dot target to get some raffle tickets. Anything in the X ring is 3, anything in the 10 is 2, and anything in the yellow is 9. I think you get 1 for playing. So if you want extra raffle tickets for our state shoot, that's the one way to get it. You're going to get a free go with that. That's a $10 value. Or if you're in the team shoot, he's going to give you a coupon for a free $5 mulligan. Those were what we did last year. That's how we raised money for the buckles. So if you're in the team shoot, you can either get you a free mulligan, or if you're not going to miss, you can do the Genesis Challenge. And if you want to shoot the Genesis Challenge 3 or 4 times, Heath was going to run that for us. He kind of talked to me this past off season. He's like, what do you need help with? And I'm like, man, everybody liked the Genesis Challenge the first year. And I had so much going in the second year that I couldn't get to it. I either forget to bring it or I didn't have time to run it. And there's so many people that are popping up that want to, they want to help see this thing grow, and they want to help us get funding for the buckles. And he goes, well, I'll just get me and my help will run it, and we'll put it right by the burger line. So when they're waiting in line for the burgers, to order, waiting on their food, I'll have somebody over here to run it for you. And I'll just give him the roll of tickets, and it's going to work out fantastic, because it lets me go answer questions, help people on the range, get people off the range, start running the team shoot. And it's just one more thing that you see the community of people chipping in to help. Like, hey, we got so much help. All we got to do is communicate it to them, and they're stepping up left, right, and center to help grow this. So big shout out to Heath for, not only wanting to keep us fed, but also to help the organization at a state level, because
well, to you too, because back in the day we had no help. So, you've really rallied the troops, I guess, to really get a lot of people involved in helping. Yeah. Not just shooting, but helping also. So
it's been huge. The archery people the archery community is the most helpful group of people. Like, if your bow breaks down, you're going to see everybody on their stake pull out Allen wrenches, and they're all trying to work on your bow, and probably half the stake behind you is like, hey, what do you guys need? It's like, oh, I need the big 1/4-inch Allen wrench. My V-bar came loose, and somebody's got it there. It's like, I can't stress enough how compassionate everybody shooting the qual. And these are people that you're shooting against, and they're going to take time out of their round to make sure your bow gets put back together, or at least diagnosed as to what's wrong with it, and they'll point out stuff. Like, it's a really helpful group of people. I remember at Trosper's opener 2 years ago, I was getting 3 questions at a time. I had that kind of glazed over look on my face, like, oh no, I can't get to everybody. And they needed me to help peer group. And it was Dwayne Schneeberger. I was talking to a new guy about what class they shoot and explaining the rules to him. He goes, here, I got this, you go over there. And that was it's been like that for the past 2 years, is there's always somebody that can kind of step up and help. And it frees me up to go, help do the peer grouping, get ready to do announcements, talk to some parents for the Junior Eagle group who are, they've got questions. And I love questions. I love explaining it to them, but sometimes I do get overwhelmed, and having good help has been pretty much why Oklahoma ASA has grown like it has in the past 2 seasons.
And I'm going to throw one more quick deal in as a newbie type question. The biggest thing is, this video is great, but it's not official. Yeah. Go read the rules. That's what's official. We can give you our interpretations and our thoughts and how things run, but the rules are official. Go read them before you go to the range.
Yeah, they're on the ASA website. Go make yourself familiar, because every year there's a few things that changes, and they usually outline that in red if there's a rule change, or if there's a new class. Yeah. And it's all pretty well on there that you can go on there and read and figure out what you need to do if you're in one of those classes, or, if there's something you need to figure out as far as one of the rules.
Yeah, because we can interpret one thing and say it here and talk about it. We can talk about the end result, but how do you get there? Let's say like your stabilizer comes loose or something. There's an equipment rule. So go read and understand it. I think that's the biggest thing, is know the rules.
Right.
Yep, we do have a breakdown period. I think it's 90 minutes or 2 hours. So you can actually call breakdown, go get your bow fixed, hit the practice bags again, and then rejoin your group wherever they may be on the range.
45 minutes.
Yeah. Well, I think we gave them a little bit extra time in Oklahoma.
Unless you guys are doing it state to state different,
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's 90 minutes or 2 hours. I'm not for sure, but you got to.
That's a long time.
That's a long time.
You got to hike all the way back.
You got 45 minutes. You got to be back to the next stake. And if you come back and you missed, like, let's say 2 targets or 3, okay, since we don't have range officials actually at a state level, that group needs to go back
and be their
and be the scorekeeper for that guy or person or woman. Yes.
Well, let's take this a step further. We've talked about newbies coming to the qualifiers. They go to the state. They love this. let's say they dive in, they're eating that carrot. They love archery. They love the 3D aspect. You mentioned the big national tour. What else is there? Is there what do you mean by national tour outside of Oklahoma?
Well, there's a pro-am tour that there's pros that show up at it. Of course, shooting their class. Amateurs come, they've got classes for those. But it's an event that happens 6 times a year, usually in different spots over the United States, mostly eastern United States. But it's 1,800 people to 2,000 people will show up.
That's awesome.
To one of those, and it's just a lot of fun. And if you've never been to one, you're just going to be in awe because of the sponsor village and everything. You can buy anything that you'd ever dream about wanting in one spot at one time at the sponsor village. And it also helps you, get to shoot with other people that you might not ever
from another part of the country.
Yeah, I mean, I've got friends from all over shooting those. I've got friends from, California all the way to New York, Pennsylvania, where I met people and they're just like us. They just want to shoot, and have fun.
And your membership to join and shoot our state qualifiers in our state, does it work there too?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. You have to be a member. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have to shoot just one qualifier. Is it still, Neil? I'm not for sure since I've been not for 3 years. One qualifier in your state championship, and then that qualifies you to shoot what they call the classic on the ASA Pro-Am Tour. It's like the Super Bowl for your ASA at the end of the year.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think that's still a rule. They might have done away with that. I know they don't require youth classes to qualify for the classic,
right?
But because we had a kid that his first ever ASA shoot 2 years ago was Coleman, Alabama. So it was like, what? It's like, I think they might have to. And I sent an email to Jenny. That's the biggest thing that we can tell you. If you have any questions that I can't answer, call Jenny at the national office. It's a website number 770 area code. And they are fantastic at answering questions when I don't know the answer. I've sent probably 300 people to her in the past 3 years, and none of them have come back with any questions whatsoever. So if you need sorted out, don't be afraid to call the national office.
Try to go through your state level.
Yeah.
First. Okay. Don't just go calling nationals. Go through your state level, your state director. Then he's going to take it to his regional director, which is Brad Timmerman now for Neil.
Yep.
In the Western region. And then if that can't get taken care of by then you go to the National Federation director, Scott Parrott, and see what he has to say. So you got to go through the chain.
Yeah.
I can tell you what Scott's going to say.
I know us as state directors, and when I was a regional director, somebody would call
straight up,
and then that would get all of us in trouble.
Yeah.
Like, why aren't you all handling that? Well, didn't know nothing about it till you told me. So
there's a chain of command. We like to, inquiries go from the bottom up. So
try to go through the channels first. Yeah.
See, I said when I was opening up that question for the,
that can even be solved at the club. The president of the club or the club official that's running the shoot, and the state director can probably get that solved right there at the shoot.
Probably most of the time.
Yeah.
I said that.
All you do is you look at the rules, and Neil's probably got a competition committee of 5 people that nobody's supposed to know who they are. But he either calls them or gets them together if they have something on a rule, and they all rule what happens and take sides on who says this and who says that, and then they make a decision and they vote, and then that's final right there. It usually happens right at the shoot.
See, there's such complex to have such an easy shoot.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's always a question or an issue that pops up, and my biggest thing, I tell people, let's go find out together, because I'm not going to just spout off what the rule is. I'm going to say, you can read, I can read. We both got cell phones. Let's go pull up the rules and find something that tells us we had one on a letdown. Guy's arrow came off midway and shot about 15 yards. And everybody always thought the rule was if you can reach it from the stake. That is not in the rules. It's not worded in there that way. No, if the string propels the arrow, like if you let down and then your arrow falls off, you just pick it up and shoot the arrow. But if you can't reach it,
if you're the way it really is, which it doesn't state this, okay, if your release is still on the string on your D loop, you did not fire that arrow. It fell off, might have hit your stabilizer and went 10 foot in front of you, but your string did not propel that. You see what I'm saying? It did not propel that arrow. Yeah. Now, if your release pops off and it goes out there 10 feet,
that's a propelled arrow.
That's a shot.
Read the rules. That's what we said a while ago.
The rule on that is kind of vague on that deal too, because it could be, you could take 50 people or 100 and they'd read it and 50 of them say this.
It's the old-fashioned thing.
50 of them would say that. Wow. Exactly.
Yeah.
So the deal on that, because that happened to me at a national event. I was letting down, my arrow fell off, it hit my stabilizer, and it went about 3 or 4 foot over there. Well, they're all calling it a shot, and I'm like, no, I didn't. My release is still on there. I didn't shoot it, So I shot it again, got a 10, but I protested it because they gave me a 0. Okay, but I did shoot the target again, got a 10. So that's what we decided to do in our group. Okay, I go up and I protest, and they get the competition committee. Well, they get the guys in my group, and they all say, well, yeah, his release was still on his string. So, well, why are you calling it a shot then? And then they were like, well, okay. Well, but the rule did not state that the release is still on the string.
Yeah.
Everybody just thought if your arrow pops off or falls off, it's a shot. But they need to put that in the rules. I don't know if they did or not, but we tried to get that changed. But it needs to state if your release is still on your string or your D loop, it's not a shot. You didn't fire your release.
Sometimes it's that simple.
Yeah.
I got in trouble at one of the pro-ams. We had a guy in our group that called breakdown, and he got his bow put back together, and he had to shoot about 4 targets with us at the very end by himself. So everybody else is coming off the range, and he had his last 2 of them, and he was going to pull his arrow, and he shot one that was, this kid could shoot. All right. I'm not going to tell you who it was, but he was a stud. And he shot one at 28 yards, called upper, inside out, donutted it. And we're all sitting back there glassing it. And I'm writing the scores down from back at the stake. And the range official comes over to me. He goes, is that kid scoring his own arrows? I said, no, this guy right here's got his official and I got his unofficial. And he said, well, don't you think you ought to be down there at the stake pulling his arrows? And I was like, I got 12 by 50 binos. The kid ain't missed one all day long. He shot it inside out. It's 28 yards and the sun's shining on it. I'm scoring it from back here because I've already walked this range one time. We're going back a second time through because he had to go continue his last 4 or 5 targets and the group has to go with him. I was beat, and I was like, I can't take it away from him. Trust me, this kid's whooped my butt 2 days in a row, like every other pro-am we go to. If I could take a point away from him, I sure would. But it's inside out. It's 28 yards, and he nailed it. I'm not walking down there. He goes, well, what do you think somebody's going to say if you're scoring arrows from back here? And I was like, they can say anything they want to me. It doesn't say anything in the rules based on how close I have to be in proximity. If you want to write it into the rules that say all scorers must proceed down the lane to call and score the arrows, I called it from back. I called it from 30 yards away. Nope. There's nothing in the rules that says you can't. And then I went to the head range official. And I was like, is there anything in the rule that says how close to the target I have to be to call this kid's arrow? He goes, no, not that I know of. I said, well, you might want to write it in there because I called it from 30 yards out. And the range official's like, hey, quit doing that. I'm like, I ain't breaking a rule. That might be the lawyer in me that's just reading them for what they say. But it doesn't say how close you have to be.
It's the same deal. It's the way each person interprets the rule,
Yeah. And I wasn't trying to be confrontational about it. I was just tired.
What? Now, wait a minute. Earmark this part of the podcast.
The glass of water is half full or half empty,
Yeah.
Everybody looks at stuff different. That's why we're the way we are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was the same thing. We were at Minden and it had just rained on the first day. We had the target sitting in a puddle of water and the guy pulling arrows got them all up. And me and the two scorekeepers were on the far side of the puddle. They didn't want to go because they had the little short rubber boots, the little ones that Vaughn
many times. Yeah.
Yeah. Mini tops. And none of them wanted to get that over the top of their little rubber booty there. And we all stayed on the far side of the puddle and scored them from back there. And it was probably 5 or 6 yards away. So what's the difference in 6 yards versus 26 yards?
Yeah. Me and Dave went to Dave and I. Okay. Art Brown would have told me that. But anyhow, we went to a pro-am one time together. It was here in Oklahoma at Tulsa.
Yep.
And we were very unprepared. Okay. It was in June or July. I can't remember.
It was probably June because it was after the bombing.
Yeah. And, we weren't prepared, okay? It got cold. I'm talking about cold.
For June, especially.
For June. And rained all day, all night, all day, all night for 3 nights, okay? And all the boots, all the umbrellas, everybody bought everything in the stores that they could buy. All we had was tennis shoes. And we waited around for 2 days with just tennis shoes on. And no warm clothes. Of course, we weren't far from home, but we were like, I'm going to rough it out. It ain't going to keep raining, but it did.
Seemed like we stayed in a janky hotel room.
In Choteau, Oklahoma.
Oh, it was terrible.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad.
It was, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
memories.
Yeah.
For this weekend coming up, mud boots are highly encouraged.
Every time. You don't go without them. Rain jacket, rain suit, mud boots, umbrella. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's the heat of the summer. Use your umbrella, keep sun off of you,
Yep.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, let's do this. Let's let everyone hear. Let's make a self checklist for a range. You said rain boots, umbrella. What else do these newcomers need to think about?
Well, if you're shooting an open sight, I've always either got a baggie or a cover for your scope. Okay, you got to have that. I got a little clear plastic bow cover that I slide over my bow if I'm in the rainy conditions that keeps my bow from getting wet.
Kind of like a giant Ziploc.
Yeah. There's all kinds of stuff made now for rain gear. But basically your sight and your bow and your arrows, keep them from getting wet. And your chair. I always leave my umbrella over my chair when I go to score the arrows. So when I come back, my chair's not soaking wet when you sit down. But pretty much that's basically it. And most people, they'll carry extra releases, okay, in their pouch or in their bag or their chair. Most people have got tools if you got anything wrong. And like Neil said, if you don't have it, there'll be somebody within 2 or 3 targets of you that will, if you need something.
What about spare nocks?
I always did. I don't know if any other people do, but you always getting your nocks busted. I shot in the senior pro class for almost 15 years, and that happens a lot. Okay. But the bad part about it is when mine got hit, I wouldn't be in the 12, I'd be over there somewhere else. But anyway, you always got to carry those. Sometimes pin nocks. If you shoot pin nocks, you might want to replace that too. If you get your fletches knocked off or something like that, or your arrow just gets tore up, you're going to have enough arrows. Most people carry a dozen to a 3D range. My magic number, was 8. I carried 8 arrows. That's just me.
Yeah.
Some people are like that, I carried 8 arrows, but basically everything that you would need to fix anything on your bow in a timely manner on the range without having to take a breakdown and cause trouble for other people and other groups, need to have in your pouch, basically.
Yeah.
Always, my D-loops were always the same length. So I always carried D-loop pliers. If my D-loop, something happened to my D-loop, I put a new one on there, took my pliers and put it on there. And I've helped many people carrying my pliers because nobody had them. put new D-lips on. I got a story here on a guy. If you guys got time for this,
go for it.
All the time in the world.
Okay, we were shooting in Kentucky. A storm rolled in down that power line. Okay, at the Pro-Am in Kentucky, London, Kentucky, and a guy by the name of Brian Barley. Okay, he's from Arkansas. Shoots a prime, or did at that time, and this guy was shooting a round that was just unbelievable. And this storm rolled in, and he was like 28 up for unknown class, and this was a tough range. And it was cloudy all day, and you know how power line is. It was dark and cloudy. And this guy, when he missed a 12, he didn't miss it over 1/8 of an inch to the good above it, you know. But he was pounding, and we like 3 targets. And that storm rolled in, and they told us to come off the range, leave all of our stuff. And we were like, I'm not leaving my bow up here and all my stuff on this power line. So we elected to stay up there. We hunkered down, you know, got under our umbrellas and stuff. And it rained, lightning, and all kinds of stuff bad. But it blew through, you know, and they starting to let everybody come back. And I was just sitting there, and we was kind of drying our stuff out. And I look at his bow. I'm just, you know, we're sitting beside each other, and I kind of like, Brian, he goes, what? I said, look at your D-loop. He had 2 strands left.
Oh, shoot.
On his D-loop, and it was fixing to break. He goes, what'd I do? I said, man, you're 28 up. You need to take equipment failure and go now and get a new one put on. He said, well, I ain't got none. I was like, well, I got one, but it might not be the same length. So we measured it. No Dave deal. I carry a ruler. Dave always carried a ruler with him. I never did do it till he started doing it a bunch. But anyway, I had a ruler, little bitty ruler in there. I measured his, and we had to really stretch it to get to his length, you know, but I put a D-loop on there for him. And the very next shot was a coyote, and it was still dark and cloudy, and they started us back up. And he was up first. And it was 49-yard shot through a big, deep ravine over up on another hill.
And not sure of your equipment.
And not knowing what was going on. And he shoots, and like you say, he donutted the lower 12. And I'm talking like, you know what, dude, it's your day. And he 12'd the last 2 targets, and he finished 34 up. And I'm talking about the best round I've ever seen anybody shoot. You know, he won the tournament the first day right there. Closest guy to him in those conditions that day was like 2 up. He shot like 10 up the second day. I don't know. He won the tournament the first day, but that was the best round I've ever seen anybody shoot. And then he was such in a zone. He never even looked at his D-loop.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But it was unbelievable. And nice guy too. He's one of the nicer guys in the senior pro class, or whichever was a lot of nice guys in that class. So I enjoyed that, or I wouldn't have went, you know. Yeah. I enjoyed going in the camaraderie with those guys, and I loved all of them. And there was a bunch of guys there was a couple of guys that nobody wanted to shoot with. But anyway, I won't mention no names, but the only reason why, they were really good guys, they were just slow, you know. Yep. They always, when you got paired with them, you knew you're going to be the last group on the range at the end of the day.
And I'm sure over 15 years you had them a few times.
Yeah. Yep.
I say things to bring.
It would be like years maybe before you'd shoot with somebody again, but then it'd be like in that 1 year you'd be paired with them the first day for like 4 shoots. You know, you hadn't shot with them in 10 years. You know,
if it rains and you've got to
shooting in that lead pack, so that didn't matter. You know, they peer group you and they rank you in the pro classes. Okay, and then you go to a different target the next day on either Saturday or Sunday. Now Saturdays, but they peer group you with like first, second, third, and fourth, and then score wise on down the line. I was in the second group a few times, but I never made the first group. And then I never made a shoot down. That was always my goal, was to make a shoot down. I didn't care if I won. I just wanted to make a shoot down. And I never did that. I was 6th like 4 times, and I was in the top 10 maybe 10 times in my 15-year career. But I was just an average guy. I hung around 25th, 24th out of 80 to 90 guys most of the time, you know. So anyway, but I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed the tournament village. Enjoyed the people. I just had a good time when I went. Take my camper and go, and just have a good time, camp out and cook out. And a lot of people, would take their campers, and we'd just find places that we could all camp together, or you can stay on site in some of them, and everybody just have a good time.
Yeah.
But
national tour, baby.
Yep. Used to be fun. But
trying to think of anything else you might want to bring. If you shoot a clarifier, keep some Q-tips on you so you can dry out your if you get rainwater in there.
right.
Extra batteries for your rangefinder if you're shooting a known class. That's always somebody always has a battery go dead. And
or your light on your sight. If
yep.
You haven't charged it, or most of them are rechargeable now, but some of them still have batteries.
Yep, I take a whole second one. Just if it goes dead or some reason, just pop it off and put another one back on. Cooling towel for the summertime. We go ahead and get you one of those and throw it in a bag of ice and put it on 9 a.m. Get started, and you're just you don't wait for yourself to sweat. Just get cool now. Get soaked down, and usually a pack of dude wipes, some extra toilet paper. That's if you carry it, you won't need it. If you don't have it, you don't want to be caught without it. So better safe than sorry, that kind of thinking. So yep, that's pretty much everything I can think of that you might need to bring. Snacks.
Well, I can see Neil snipping that last 15 seconds out for a little ditty, and the number one thing the state director says is bring dude wipes.
Bring dude wipes. Yeah.
Yeah,
man, those are Cadillac, man.
Make sure they're nothing. You dang right.
Oh yeah. That's. I mean, it beats a little baggie with wadded up toilet paper blowing in the breeze.
Well, Neil, can you think anything else? Well, let's stop. Let's talk about this weekend. Where is it? What's going on, and what time?
OSA range, formerly named G2 in Ardmore. That is Ryan Thomason's range. So if you want to see how a real pro archer sets a range, this is your chance. He's one of our 4, maybe 5 pros that live in the state of Oklahoma. Fantastic guy, judges yardage, sets a tough range, but it's definitely gettable. That's going to be in Ardmore this Saturday and Sunday. 10 a.m. shotgun start. So you want to get there between 8:30 and 9:30, depending on how much warming up you want to do. And that'll be our first one of the year, of the spring. I said we had 3 in the fall that count for your shooter of the year. But weekend after that's Trosper here in Oklahoma City. And then after that, we'll all go to Foley, Alabama for the first Pro-Am of the year. So it's going to be a good one. Got Ryan setting the range, I think, today and tomorrow. He's trying to let all the snow melt and dry out a little bit before he takes his tractor down there to mow. So mud boots for sure. I don't think you're going to need bug spray yet, but it's usually good. Just like Vaughn was saying, leave you a bottle of bug spray and your mud boots with your shooting stuff. Don't ever go to the range without it, just in case. But I don't think we're going to have a mosquito problem quite yet. We got a couple months of shooting unencumbered before the mosquitoes and the ticks all decide to ruin our fun.
But the Trosper that you mentioned, that was the one that was originally scheduled last weekend. Is that going to be that's the rescheduled date?
Yep, that's the rescheduled date, the 14th and 15th of February at Trosper. So they bumped theirs out 2 weeks because nobody wanted to go shoot in 20-degree weather. So we had an open weekend, and it's going to be a lot better weather for a big turnout, and have a whole bunch of fun out there, because it's not fun to set a whole range just so 16, 17 people can show up, because you got those diehards that they don't mind shooting in the cold or the wind or the snow. But, we're trying to get, over 100 people at some of these. And I think good weather has a lot to do with it.
Yeah. So that pretty well covers February. Go look at the ASA schedule after that pretty well. I'm sure it goes up and down the whole time.
Yep, there's one pinned to the featured tab of the Facebook, along with our sign-up sheets and all our important announcements up there. Pinned to the top of the Facebook group. You can click the featured tab, and then our whole schedule and our sign-up sheets on asaoklahoma.com for your convenience. So every one of those has a GPS pin. So if anybody needs directions, asaoklahoma.com, click 2026, scroll down to the range, and it'll have map right there, and you click that on your cell phone and it should pop right up.
All right, cool. Well,
yeah, buddy,
that covers this. Well, Vaughn,
what did you mention about early in the year, just coming and shooting,
yeah, if you're not dialed in, just
it doesn't matter. You got plenty of time. Just go ahead and come and have a good time, because you're going to be in the 95% percentile of nobody's ready because it's the first one.
Yeah. And
or you can see everybody changing out there.
Yeah. Or you're going to be seeing a lot of adjustments going on. So
yeah, our shooter of the year takes your best 6 scores plus your state score. There's 31 qualifiers scheduled.
Oh, you got a lot of stuff. Yeah.
You got plenty of time. Come shoot one, and if it doesn't end up being one of your best 6, it doesn't penalize you for anything. Right. But if you go shoot 14 up accidentally and think, "Oh man, I'm smoking with this setup," that might be one of your good scores. You don't know how hard the range is. You don't know how stiff it is yet. It could just be your day, and you want to go ahead and shoot that qualifying round, because this one is a bi-state qualifier, which will not only qualify you for the Oklahoma State Championship but also the Texas, because it's right down there on the border, and their state is a week before ours state championship this year, so you can qualify yourself. And I believe that this is going to be the only range. It has 2 qualifiers this year, but the OSA, formerly G2 range, is going to be a bi-state with Texas both times. That's our only one that's far enough south, I think, to qualify you for Texas. So without having to actually drive down there, because you don't want to miss Texas State.
Go to Texas if you don't.
Yeah. That's you want to see a state championship. You want to go see 30 targets of fun in the sun. That they give away just as many bows, and I think they give away a hunt every year, and all kinds of prizes and door prizes and drawings and raffles. You name it, they've got it going on down south of the border. So this is one of those 2 qualifiers this year that'll qualify you for that one as well.
Cool. And you're also having other bi-state too, aren't you, with Kansas and maybe someone else later on in the year? Yeah.
Oh yeah. If you hit all these qualifiers, you'll have a chance to qualify for Kansas, Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana.
Right.
I don't think we have one for Colorado or New Mexico this year. I don't think we have any far. We might have Quinlan might be close enough to Colorado. That's out by Woodward area.
Right.
But the rule is it's got to be within 150 miles of that state. So, and not just a little bit. It's got to be all the way up into the state. So we try to get you qualified to go to as many of these as we can, because those states appreciate the support, and they got to get their numbers just like the rest of us do. So we try to give you every opportunity to, go visit another state and shoot against some new competition.
Oh, cool.
Right.
Shout out to New Mexico, old Larry.
Larry in New Mexico, you need to go over there and shoot that just for the uniqueness of the ranges. Yeah, not many trees. Okay. You're shooting in like sagebrush and cactus and
oh wow. Yeah.
It's a little bit different.
Rattlesnakes.
Well, I don't know about that, but it's a lot of fun though. So if you haven't had a chance to shoot one in New Mexico, you need to go see old Larry.
Yeah, he's a character. He's going to come. He's coming. He's staying with us Foley this year. So if you're, I think we got 2 bunks, 2 or 3 bunks left at the cabin in Foley.
You aren't going to get to bed before 3:00 at night every night.
No, we're gonna be staying up late and partying. If you need somewhere to stay at Foley, we got a couple of extra beds. Got a big old Airbnb that's not quite filled up yet. So anybody out there wants to go to Foley last minute and needs a place to stay, it's going to be a lot cheaper in an Airbnb than getting a hotel. So we've got it Wednesday night through Saturday night.
So, well, all right. Well, Neil, I think we have covered the bases. This is a good fun one here. Vaughn, thanks for showing up and sticking your head on the camera.
Yeah, thank y'all. Yeah. Thank y'all for having me.
Anytime, Vaughn. We appreciate everything you do for us, man.
Well, I don't do much anymore, but I'm still around. If anybody needs anything, I'm still around.
Advisory committee.
Oh, yeah. Well, they took me off of that too.
Oh, that's for another podcast.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Neil, you got anything else?
See y'all this weekend. Bring your bow.
Sounds good. Y'all be good.